Hi, I'm Kevin Wynne, and I currently live and have for the past several years in Katy, Texas, which is on the west side of Houston. And I grew up in the oil industry. My dad was in it, and I've been around seismic rigs, the big drilling rigs, and that kind of thing. And I've always had this desire to be a diver. And that started way back in the 50s when I watched a TV program called Sea Hunt. And any of you all my age know exactly what I'm talking about. So an opportunity came up after I learned to scuba dive. I saw a little pamphlet, and I went to Coastal School of Deep Sea Diving, which I think is sold out. And I got into the industry, came down to Morgan City from California, and went to work, interviewed different places, but went to work for Continental Diving first. Was a tender, I broke out diving, broke out gas diving there, and then I wanted to grow. And the company that was available that really was the big dog of the day was Oceaneering. They offered the most opportunities, and I was a diver here again in Morgan City, and then they transferred me to the Texas office near Galveston, and I stayed there for, I guess maybe 3 years. And one day I get a call from them wanting to know if I could come up to the corporate office. Now, I'm a diver, minding my own business, and the corporate wants to see me. Yes, you get little goosebumps and hairs and gee, what the hell did I do? And I went up there and they offered me a job to move into sales, which was great. I took the offer, never looked back, but with my experience of growing up in the oil field, working as a diver, going to meet engineers, it was amazing. They listened once they knew who I was and what I did. And we worked well together. I was taken by other salespeople because I was the diver. And engineers back then, they really listened to you. It wasn't like, well, I went to a dive school too. Congratulations, have you been up for 52 hours straight standing on the edge of a barge holding a hose or any of that kind of stuff? Well, you haven't, now you need to sit down and listen to me. So it was a great experience. I've traveled and done things that most people don't know exist. And I'm not exclusive in this. All of the guys and the women in the industry know what I'm talking about. Oceaneering at the time had a WASP suit and a gym suit, which were 1 atmospheric diving suits. And I was in Scotland at their head office in Aberdeen, and they actually put us all in the gym suit and let us walk around the bottom. So if any of you guys ever watch a James Bond movie with Roger Moore called For Your Eyes Only, it's in there. It was an incredible experience, and I will tell you this, the Brits, knowing that I had been a diver, dropped me just under the water in October in the North Sea area, and the water is squirting down the back of my neck, and it is chilly. And it turns out that they had done that intentionally. They thought it was funny. We had a discussion afterwards. If you really want to be good and learn, leave your ego at home, because you don't know everything. You come out of dive school, you think you know everything. You come out of college, you think you know everything, and then you realize, no, you don't. Now, you need an ego to be a diver, okay? It's like being a fighter pilot. You gotta have an ego. The thing is, if you did not grow up learning from your dad, from an uncle, whatever, how to work with tools, how to work on an engine, which is hard to do anymore unless you got a computer sitting there, how to be a carpenter, how to do electrical work, plumbing, whatever, to work with your hands, then you need to go through and take those courses at a junior college or something related to it, where you can learn how to do that. Because working as a diver under the water, you're going to have those talents and those skills so that you can progress, okay? And also you can help the other divers and tenders. I will tell you this, when I was coming through the ranks, we helped each other. The divers helped train us. Everybody's experience was called upon. I've heard the stories, and I think part of that is missing from the industry today, and I think it's very sad. You can go through those schools, like I said, but you've got to keep it in your mind. This is what you've learned. You learn how to think. You learn how to analyze a situation. You learn how to work with your partners, how to get the information of where you left off back topside. And yeah, you can talk to them, but you need to come up, maybe draw a picture or something like that. It's critical. Your customer, the customer is paying money for you to do a job. Are you going to mess up? Hell yes. Don't let it worry you. That is something that everybody does, because believe it or not, you're not perfect. None of us are. There's only one man who walked the face of the earth that was perfect, okay? And we know that. So if you mess up, yes, they may jump down your throat, they may make fun of you and stuff like that, but that's part of the growing process. If not just in diving, in life. It's the way it goes. Learn how to get along with people. Learn how to get along with your customer, because they're gonna have ideas, because they're engineers, and therefore they know everything. And the smart ones, no, they don't. They will listen to you. So do your best. Think about it first. Look up stuff, and the dive schools are going to tell you all these wonderful things, all the money and the travel and all this exotic world, and gosh, it's incredible. And then your first dive, you will probably be in a swamp in South Louisiana. There is nothing glamorous about that, but it's your job. This is what you pay for. You've gone to school, the customer's paying you, go fix it, go inspect it. It's a lot of money that is being spent by the oil companies, or a city, or a state, the military, on finding out what's wrong down there. And if it's in dark water, these are your eyeballs. You're going to have to feel, and you're going to have to be able to transmit it to the top side. So be conscious of what you're trying to do. Think about going to dive school. Yes, people are going to tell you you're out of your friggin' mind, and there'll be blocks of them telling you that. Your girlfriend or boyfriend is probably going to try to talk you out of it. Are you crazy? You're not going to make any money at that, and you could get killed. Well, diving is not really a big dangerous industry like it used to be, but it has definitely got a lot of risk. You will learn to think, learn to listen, you learn to anticipate. Expect it. You're not going to be perfect. And your guys running your rack, the dive box, talking to you, are going to see how you're doing. Talk to them. Oh, I dropped something. God, has that happened more than once? And I'm trying to find it in this mud down here, and you can't see. Tell them what's going on. You got to be a communicator. You got to be, like I said, when you hit that water, you got to have a bit of that ego. I'm going to get this done. Okay, you can have that, but don't go down there saying I'm perfect, because no, you're not. I worked with a lot of guys that realized no, they're not. So.
All right, great. Okay, tell me a short story of something that was really cool that happened.
Wow, something that really cool.
And keep it abbreviated, because I know you'd go for an hour.
Well, something that was really cool. Are you talking in terms of like we shouldn't have done that and we did it anyway?
I like those kinds of stories.
Okay. This was back in the mid to later 70s. We were on a job for a major oil company. We'll just leave it at that. We were in 235 feet of water, but we were only working max 20 feet. That's all we were doing. The company, the oil company, had only wanted us to bring out one air impact wrench No, you bring two. They said, no, you're bringing one. That's all we're paying for. Sure enough, they didn't rig it up right with their hands like they should have. That thing blew off and was going to the bottom. So the company man says, we need to find out, because the platforms are beveled like this, is it possible that that thing could have fell on a horizontal and stayed there? No, sir. Well, we need to find out. Okay, well, it turns out I said I would do the dive. It was 120 feet was where I was going to have to go. We did not have decompression chambers on board the boat. We did not have compressors big enough to run chambers if we had them. But one of our other boats was off 5 or 6 miles or more. We talked to them and they said, yeah, something goes wrong, get over here as fast as you can. In other words, I would have had a case of the bends and it could have been bad. So we put my hat on, we talked about how we're going to do this dive, always plan. I told the tender, I said, when I jump in the water and I'm going to get over to this part of the platform, the water was beautiful. When I say going down, I'm going to be going down the outside of the leg, and you better start throwing some hose over, because I'm hauling ass. They literally said he was picking up loops of this hose and throwing it overboard. And in your hose makeup, one of the hoses is a pneumofathometer. You wear it on your chest. It tells topside how deep you are. Okay? It couldn't keep up with me. I finally went, this is where I think I can stop. And I said, topside. He said, I said, how deep am I? And he said, 120 feet. I said, okay, I'm here. What do you see? And literally the water was so clear I could see each end of the platform and everything. It was beautiful. And I said, there is I repeat, no impact wrench here. He said, are you ready to leave bottom? I said, ASAP. And I could look up and watch the tender pulling my slack up. As I was telling him, pick it up, pick it up. And I finally watched him, and I could see him, and I was leaving bottom. That we regulated like you're supposed to. My God, today the Coast Guard had been all over us. Anyway, we did it. Nothing was there. No one got hurt. And part of it was because of the professionalism of all the people on board. They understood. And the company that I was with, like I said, they had another dive boat, but with all the chambers and stuff, they were standing by. It gives you confidence. So there were some other things that happened, but we'll let it go with that one. The way that society, the world, industry has changed, unless you really want to just go from high school into some type of dive school or try to get the trade, I would push you to go through 2 years of junior college and focus and study. Try to get a degree in business or something like that, because a diver is kind of like a professional athlete. You can't do this forever, all right? And it gives you a better opportunity to move into management, to go up in your career. Yeah, you can do a lot of stuff online. Do that after you get that piece of paper. Get you a college degree, and then if you want to, enter the diving industry. It's an incredible career that most people, you can't even describe it to them.
And then you sign off.
Okay. My name is Kevin Wynne, and I'm from Katy, Texas. So it's been a pleasure, and I hope that my words can affect at least one person to doing the right thing. Thank you.